Commander Zextal looked at the blue planet on his screen and yawned. For 300 years, his people had watched this world from their hidden station at the edge of the star system. Earth, they called it. A simple name for a simple world. The humans living there were like children playing with toys. They built small metal tubes filled with fire and shot them into space. Sometimes these tubes carried 1 or 2 humans to their tiny moon. Other times, they just put machines in orbit around their planet. The Vorthok Empire had seen thousands of worlds like this. Primitive species taking their first baby steps into space. Zexthel typed his report the same way he had done every 3 months for the past 20 years. The words never changed much. Humans continue basic space exploration. Chemical rocket technology observed. No military threat detected. Species remains thousands of years from true spacefaring capability. Recommend continued minimal observation. He'd sent the report and forgot about it. The humans were not worth thinking about. Far across the galaxy, Trademaster Velnara read similar reports about Earth. Her ships sometimes came to mine rocks in the space around the human world. Humans never seemed to notice. Their tiny ships stayed close to home, barely reaching their own moon. When her mining vessels did see human ships, they were so small and slow that avoiding them was easy. The humans reminded Velnara of her own species thousands of years ago. Back then, her people had also built primitive ships and dreamed of reaching the stars. Now they controlled trade routes across half the galaxy. Maybe someday the humans would grow up too, but not for a very long time. The Galactic Council kept Earth listed as a classy primitive world. This meant the humans were smart enough to build simple machines, but too primitive to be dangerous. Thousands of worlds held this rating. Most never advanced beyond it. The humans would probably join the galaxy someday. But as junior members who followed the rules made by older, wiser species, nobody in the galaxy suspected what was really happening on Earth. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, places where the sea floor was 3 miles down, something incredible was being built. The humans had discovered how to hollow out underwater mountains without anyone above knowing. They used the heat from underwater volcanoes to power machines that could shape metal and stone like clay. For 200 years, while the galaxy watched, humans play with simple rockets. The real work happened in the deep, dark places of Earth's oceans. Humans had learned to breathe underwater for months at a time. They had built cities in the crushing depths where no surface dweller could survive. Most importantly, they had built ships. But these were not the small metal tubes the galaxy saw. Launching from Earth's surface, these ships were the size of cities. Each one could hold millions of people and everything they needed to live. The ships had gardens that grew food, factories that built machines, and schools where children learned secrets the galaxy had never imagined. The humans called them silent cities. They were designed to move through space without being detected. Every surface was covered in materials that bent light and radio waves around them. They could drift past alien ships and space stations without appearing on any sensor. The aliens would see empty space where a human city actually floated. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of Silent City 12 and watched the stars. Her city was currently hiding in the shadow of Jupiter's largest moon. From here, she could see the alien monitoring station that watched Earth. The aliens inside that station had no idea that a human city with 5 million people was less than 1,000 miles away from them. Sarah had been born on this ship 35 years ago. She had never lived on Earth's surface. Her whole life had been spent moving through space, learning alien languages, and studying alien technology. She was not alone. Millions of humans now lived in the silent cities, and they had been watching the galaxy for decades. The humans had learned to copy alien machines by watching from hiding. When alien ships broke down, humans would sneak aboard in the dark and study the broken parts. When aliens built new space stations, humans would float nearby and record everything. Slowly, carefully, humans had learned all the galaxy's secrets. The silent cities were not just hiding places. They were weapons. Each city carried enough firepower to destroy entire star systems. But the weapons were hidden, built into the ships, in ways that made them look like normal city equipment. A garden dome could become a massive energy cannon. A water recycling plant could generate force, fields stronger than anything the aliens had. The humans had learned something important about the galaxy during their long years of watching. The older species were comfortable and lazy. They had not fought a real war in thousands of years. Their weapons were old designs, their tactics were predictable, and their soldiers were used to fighting weak enemies. But humans were different. Humans had spent their entire history fighting each other. They understood war in ways the peaceful galaxy had forgotten. When humans built weapons, they built them to win against enemies who were smart, desperate, and determined. Sarah looked at the reports coming in from other silent cities scattered across the galaxy. Humans had been hiding in every major star system for 50 years. It watched, learned, and prepared. Soon, it would be time to show the galaxy what humanity had really built in the darkness beneath their quiet blue world. The aliens thought Earth was a simple planet full of primitive humans playing with toy rockets. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Humanity had built mobile worlds of annihilation, and they had been hiding them in plain sight for centuries. But for now, Sarah watched and waited. The time for revelation would come soon enough. Ambassador Kethvar's forearms shook as he entered the great hall of the Galactic Council. His blue skin had turned pale, and his large eyes darted around the room like a frightened animal. The other council members had never seen the proud. Zephyrian looked so worried. "Honored members," Kethvar began, his voice cracking, "we have a problem, a big problem." The council chamber fell silent. The Zephyrians controlled most of the galaxy's trade routes. They were calm, practical people who rarely got excited about anything. If Kethvar was scared, something was very wrong. "3 of our mining operations in the Sol system have disappeared," he continued. "Not destroyed, not attacked, gone, completely. Gone." Council leader Morthak leaned forward in his chair. "What do you mean, gone?" "I mean, they are not there anymore," Kethvar said. Each mining platform was the size of a small moon. They had crews of 10,000 workers. They had enough supplies to last for years. Yesterday they were there. Today they are not. The council members looked at each other with confusion. Mining platforms that big did not just disappear. They were built to survive asteroid impacts and solar storms. Even if something attacked them, there would be wreckage. There would be distress signals. There would be something. "Maybe they moved to a different location," suggested Councilmember Yixdal. "Mining ships do that sometimes." Kethvar shook his head. "These platforms cannot move. They are built into asteroids. The asteroids are gone too. We sent scout ships to investigate. They found nothing. No metal fragments. No energy traces. Nothing. At all, the room grew quiet again. Asteroids did not disappear. Physics did not work that way. "We need to send investigators," said Morthak. "This could be some kind of natural phenomenon we have not seen before." Kethvar pulled out a small device and projected images into the air above the council table. The images showed empty space where the mining platforms should have been. But something was wrong with the pictures. The stars in the background were slightly blurred, as if something invisible was bending the light. "There is more," Kethvar said quietly. "Our long-range sensors are detecting gravitational anomalies throughout the Sol system. Large masses moving in space, but our cameras see nothing. Our heat sensors see nothing. It is like invisible mountains are floating around that star system." Before anyone could respond, a new voice interrupted. "Commander the Smorin of the Vorthok." Empire burst into the chamber without permission. His red face was flushed with anger and embarrassment. "My monitoring station is gone," he announced loudly. "The one watching the primitive humans. I sent a battle cruiser to investigate." The council members stared at him. Vorthok monitoring stations were built like fortresses. They could survive attacks from entire fleets. "Did you find?" asked Morthok. The station was still there. Dex Morin said slowly, but it was empty. Completely empty. Every piece of equipment had been removed. Every computer, every weapon, every communication device, gone. "What about the crew?" asked Kethvar. "No bodies, no signs of struggle. A number. Damage to the station itself." Someone had very carefully taken everything valuable and left the empty shell behind. Dexmoran activated his own projector. Images appeared showing the inside of the monitoring station. The walls were intact, but every room was bare. It looked like someone had very precisely cut out every piece of technology and taken it away. But here is the strange part, Dexmoran continued. The removal was done from the inside. Someone had been living in our station for weeks, maybe months. They knew exactly where everything was. They knew our security codes. They knew which equipment was most important. The implications hit everyone at the same time. Something had infiltrated the most secure military installation in the Sol system. Something had been studying Vorthok technology from the inside. Something had been learning. Over the next few days, reports flooded in from across the galaxy. The pattern was always the same. Equipment disappearing. Gravitational readings that showed massive objects in empty space. Energy signatures that appeared for seconds and then vanished. A crystalline research vessel reported that their advanced sensors had been somehow improved overnight. The modifications were so subtle that they almost missed them. But now their equipment was more sensitive and more accurate than before. Someone had upgraded their technology while they slept. A Felinoid trading post discovered that their computer systems had been accessing databases they did not know existed. Someone had been using their equipment to download massive amounts of information about galactic trade routes, military deployments, and technological specifications. The breakthrough came when a Vorthok patrol ship encountered something impossible. They were investigating reports of gravitational anomalies when their sensors detected a massive object directly ahead. But their cameras showed only empty space. The patrol ship's captain Velkron was a veteran of many battles, he ordered his crew to prepare for combat, even though they could not see their enemy. Full power to sensors, he commanded. Maximum resolution. The results were terrifying. Their most advanced equipment revealed the outline of something huge floating in space. It was artificial, clearly built by intelligent beings. But it was bigger than anything in their databases. The object was the size of a small moon, but shaped like a city. Towers and domes covered its surface. Lights twinkled in what looked like windows. Impossible, whispered Velkron. Cities do not float in space. Before his crew could react, the impossible city simply disappeared. Their sensors showed nothing. Their cameras showed nothing. But a message appeared on their communication system. The message was in perfect Vorthok language. The accent was strange. Alien. The voice was calm and friendly, like someone greeting an old friend. Greetings, Velkron, the message said. We have been watching you watch us for quite some time. We apologize for the secrecy, but we felt it was necessary to understand your intentions before introducing ourselves. Velkron's blood ran cold. The voice knew his name. It knew their language, spoke like it had been studying them for years. We have learned much about your people, the voice continued. Your technology is impressive, but it has some limitations. We have taken the liberty of studying your equipment to understand how it works. We hope you do not mind. The communication ended with words that would echo through the galaxy for years. To come, we have been watching you watch us. Now it is time for you to see what we have built. The emergency meeting of the Galactic Council was the largest in 3,000 years. Representatives from every major species had come to the capital station. Fear had spread through the galaxy like a disease, equipment vanishing, invisible, objects in space. And messages from unknown beings had everyone terrified. Council leader Morthek stood before the Great Assembly. His usually calm voice shook as he spoke. We are here because something is happening that we do not understand. Our most advanced technology cannot detect these intruders. Our best military minds cannot explain how they move unseen through our. Space Ambassador Kethvar had brought new evidence. His trading fleets reported the same story from dozens of star systems. Massive objects moving through space that only appeared on gravitational sensors, equipment being studied and sometimes improved by invisible hands. And always the strange messages promising that soon everything would be revealed. They know our languages, Kethvar told the council. They know our technology. They know our weaknesses. But we know nothing about them. Commander Thexmorin of the Vorthok Empire was more direct. This is an invasion. Slow, careful invasion by beings who understand war better than we do. They are studying us before they attack. The debate continued for hours. Some species wanted to mobilize their fleets and search every inch of space. Others suggested trying to communicate with the unknown beings. A few thought the whole thing was some kind of natural phenomenon that science had not yet explained. Then the lights in the council chamber began to flicker at first. Nobody paid attention. Space stations sometimes had power problems. But the flickering formed a pattern. 3 long flashes, followed by 3 short ones, followed by 3 long ones again. That is an old Earth signal, said Dr. Nixvell, the council's expert on primitive species. So as it means help me. The council members looked confused. Ow! Why would anyone use a primitive Earth signal? Before anyone could ask, the space around the capital station began to change. What had appeared to be empty space suddenly was not empty anymore. Shapes appeared where nothing had been moments before. Not 1 shape, not 2. 12 massive objects materialized around the station, like mountains rising from invisible ground. The council chamber erupted in panic. Alarms screamed. Security. Forces rushed to battle stations. Emergency protocols activated throughout the station, but the 12 objects did not attack. They simply hung in space, silent and patient. Each one was the size of a city, covered in lights and structures that looked like buildings. They were clearly artificial, clearly inhabited, and clearly more advanced than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Council. Leader Morthek stared at the screen showing the massive ships. His voice was barely a whisper. How long have they been? There, unknown, sir, replied the security chief. Our sensors show they just appeared. But that is impossible. Objects that large cannot hide from our detection systems. A communication signal came through on all frequencies. The voice was human, speaking in perfect galactic standard language, with a slight accent that sounded almost friendly. Greetings, Galactic Council, the voice said. We are humanity, and we have been your neighbors for quite some time. We apologize for the deception, but we felt it necessary to understand your intentions before introducing ourselves properly. The council chamber fell completely silent. Humanity. The primitive species from Earth, the ones who barely had chemical rockets. We know this comes as a surprise, the human voice continued. For 300 years you have watched us from a distance, thinking we were a simple species, taking our first steps into space. This was not entirely untrue. Some of our people do still live on Earth and use the technology you have observed. But many of us chose a different path. The largest of the 12 ships moved closer to the station. As it approached, details became visible on its hull. There were parks with trees and grass. There were buildings with windows where people could be seen moving around. There were landing bays big enough for entire fleets. These are our homes, the human explained.
Oh.
We call them mobile cities. Each one houses between 3 and 8 million people. We have been living in space for over 2 centuries, moving through the galaxy, learning from you. Ambassador Kethvar found his voice. Impossible. You would have detected cities that large. You detected what we wanted you to detect, the human replied. We learned long ago that the galaxy's history is filled with strong species absorbing weak ones. We decided to remain hidden until we could defend ourselves. Commander Thexmorin stood up angrily. You infiltrated our installations. You stole our technology. You borrowed your technology, the human corrected gently. And we improved it. The modifications to your sensor systems, for example, make them 30% more accurate. The upgrades to your communication networks reduce lag time by half. We always leave things better than we found them. New information began flooding the council's computers. Files appeared, showing the true extent of human presence in the galaxy. The mining. Operations that had disappeared had not been destroyed. They had been carefully relocated to safer positions and given better equipment. The Vorthok monitoring station had not been robbed. It had been upgraded with technology that made it nearly undetectable. We have been protecting you while you protected yourselves from us, the human said. Your trade routes are more efficient because we built hidden relay stations. Your communication networks are faster because we installed better equipment. Your space lanes are safer because we clear debris and redirect dangerous asteroids. Dr. Nixvell studied the data streaming across his screen. This shows human presence in every major star system for the past 50 years. How is this possible? We are very good at hiding, the human answered. And we are very good at learning. Yeah, but most importantly, we are very good at building things. The image on the main screen changed to show the inside of one of the human cities. It looked like a normal city with streets and buildings, but everything was enclosed in a massive dome. People walked around in parks and gardens. Children played in schools. Workers built machines in factories. Each of our cities is completely self-sufficient, the human explained. We grow our own food, manufacture our own equipment, and educate our own children. We can travel anywhere in the galaxy without needing to stop for supplies or repairs. Council leader Morthek finally found his voice. What do you want from us? Nothing, the human replied. We want to exist peacefully alongside you. But we have learned that the galaxy's history is one of conquest and absorption. Stronger species dominate weaker ones. We are here to inform you that we will not be dominated and we will not be absorbed. The tone of the human voice remained friendly, but something underneath it had changed, something harder. We are prepared to defend ourselves, the human continued. We are very, very good at it. I hope this will never be necessary, but we wanted you to understand our position. The 12 massive cities began to move, forming a perfect circle around the capital station. Their movement was silent and smooth, like dancers performing a careful routine. We have been watching you for 300 years, the human said. Now you can watch us. We are no longer hiding. General Vexthurin of the Vorthok Empire refused to believe what he had seen at the Galactic Council. Primitive humans could not have technology better than the mighty Vorthok fleet. It was impossible. It was insulting. It was a trick that needed to be exposed. 12 ships, he told his officers. They showed us 12 ships and thought we would be scared. The Vorthok Empire has ruled space for 5,000 years. We will not bow to primitive creatures who learned to fly yesterday. Other Vorthok officers nodded in agreement. Their red faces burned with anger and shame. How dare these humans claim to be equals? How dare they threaten the greatest military force in the galaxy? Prepare the 7th Fleet, Vexthurin commanded. Every ship, every weapon. We will show these humans what real power looks like. Admiral Kexmerin hesitated. General, perhaps. We should study their technology first. The Council reports suggest they have capabilities we do not understand. Vexthurin slammed his fist on the table. I understand everything I need to understand. They have 12 ships. We have 200. They are primitives playing with stolen technology. We are warriors who have conquered half the galaxy. The 7th Fleet was the pride of the Vorthok Empire. 200 warships, including the massive dreadnought Eternal Dominion. Each ship carried enough firepower to destroy entire planets. Together, they could defeat any force the galaxy had ever seen. It took 3 days to gather the fleet. Ships came from military bases across Vorthok space. The crews were excited. Finally, a real battle after centuries of peace. Finally, a chance. To remind the galaxy why the Vorthok were feared, the fleet moved toward Earth space in perfect formation. Their sensors swept ahead, looking for the human cities. But space appeared empty. No ships, no stations.
Oh.
Nothing at all. Where are they? Demanded Vexthurin from the bridge of the Eternal Dominion. The humans said they would not hide anymore. Unknown, sir, replied the sensor operator. Long range. Scans show nothing unusual. The Sol system appears normal. Odd. But as the Vorthok fleet entered the outer edge of the Sol system, things began to change. Space itself seemed to shift and move. Stars flickered. Shadows appeared where no objects should. Cast them. Contact, announced the sensor operator. 12 objects detected. Same size as the ships we saw at the Council. The human cities appeared gradually, like images coming into focus. They hung in space in a loose formation, waiting patiently for the Vorthok fleet to arrive. "Only 12, laughed Vexthurin. "Just as we thought. Prepare all weapons. We will destroy them quickly and return home as heroes." A communication signal came from the lead human city. The same calm, friendly voice they had heard at the council. "General Vexthurin," the human said, "we hoped this would not be necessary. We have no desire for conflict. Surrender now, and we will make your deaths quick," Vexthurin replied. "We cannot do that," the human answered sadly. "But we will make this educational." The battle began when Vexthurin gave the order to fire. 200 Vorthok ships unleashed their weapons at the same time. Energy beams, plasma cannons, and fusion missiles filled the space between the fleets. None of them reached their targets. The human ships were surrounded by something that bent light and energy around them. Weapons that should have destroyed entire cities simply curved away and shot harmlessly into empty space. "Possible," whispered Admiral Kexmarin. "Nothing can deflect that much firepower." The human response was swift and terrible. Beams of energy shot out from the human cities, but these were unlike any weapons the Vorthok had ever seen. When the beams touched Vorthok ships, the ships simply came apart, not exploded, not burned. They unraveled like cloth, their atoms separating and floating away as glowing dust. "Evasive maneuvers," shouted Vexthurin. "All ships scatter and attack from multiple angles." But the Vorthok ships could not escape. Something held them in place. Invisible hands that gripped them no matter how hard their engines worked. They were trapped like insects in amber, helpless to move while the human weapons picked them off one by one. The worst part was how quiet it was. Vorthok weapons roared and screamed when they fired. Human weapons made no sound at all. Ships simply stopped existing, their crews never knowing what hit them. "Shields are useless," reported the defense officer. "Their weapons ignore our armor, our force fields, everything. It is like they are attacking us with physics we do not understand." Vexthurin watched his fleet die in silence. Ship after ship disappeared into floating clouds of atoms. The mighty Seventh Fleet, terror of the galaxy, was being erased like writing on a board. But the true horror came when his sensors detected movement all around them. The space that had appeared empty was suddenly full of shapes. Hundreds of human ships materialized out of nothing, surrounding the surviving Vorthok. "Vessels. How many ships do they have?" asked Admiral Kexmarin in a broken voice. "Too many," whispered the sensor operator. "Readings show over 300 vessels, all larger than anything in our fleet." The lead human city moved closer to the Eternal Dominion. As it approached, Vexthurin could see people walking around inside its transparent sections. Playing in parks, families eating dinner, an entire civilization living peacefully, while their ship destroyed his fleet without effort. "This is what you do not understand," the human voice said gently. "These are not just our weapons. They are our homes. Every ship you are fighting contains millions of our people living their daily lives. We do not separate our military from our civilians because we do not separate war from life." The final demonstration came when the humans activated what they called the Cascade Nullifier. Instead of destroying the remaining Vorthok ships, they simply switched off their ability to exist in normal space. The ships did not explode or break apart. They just stopped being there, as if they had never been built at all. Only the Eternal Dominion remained, floating alone in space, surrounded by human cities. The great dreadnought was completely undamaged, but utterly powerless. Every weapon had been disabled. Every system had been shut down. A small human transport approached and docked with the Vorthok flagship. Through the security cameras, Vexthurin watched 5 humans in simple spacesuits walk through his ship's most secure barriers as if they were not there. Doors that should have stopped armies opened at their touch. Walls that should have been impenetrable became transparent. The humans walked calmly through the ship, examining everything with quiet curiosity. They spoke to each other in their own language, pointing at equipment and nodding. They seemed more interested in learning than conquering. One of the humans looked directly at a security camera and spoke in perfect Vorthok. General Vextherin, we are not here to harm you or your crew. We are here to show you that your weapons cannot protect you from us, but our weapons can protect you from others. We hope this demonstration has been educational. The humans left. As quietly as they had come, Eternal Dominion's systems came back online one by one. Life support, communications, engines. Everything worked perfectly. But Vexthra knew the humans could turn it all off again whenever they wanted. A final message appeared on every screen in the ship. The words were simple, but their meaning was clear. We have shown you what we are. Capable of this was not our full strength. It was merely a demonstration of our defensive capabilities. We hope this clarifies our position. We wish to live in peace, but we are prepared for war. The choice is yours. The human cities began to fade from view, disappearing back into the invisible state where they had hidden for so long. Within minutes, the Sol system appeared empty again. Only the Eternal Dominion remained, alone in space, with its crew of terrified survivors. Vextherin stared at the empty space where the human fleet had been. His voice was hollow when he finally spoke. Send a message to all Vorthok forces. No ship is to enter human space without permission. No weapon is to be pointed at human vessels. The humans are not primitives. They are something else entirely. Demonstration was over. The galaxy would never be the same. 6 months had passed since the demonstration. The galaxy was still trying to understand what had happened. The mighty Vorthok 7th Fleet had been destroyed in 7 minutes by 12 human ships. Word of the battle spread to every world. Every species, every corner of civilized space. Fear changed everything. Trademaster Velnara discovered the truth by accident. Her cargo ships had been using the same hyperspace routes for decades. The routes were fast, efficient, and completely safe. But when her navigation team ran detailed scans, they found something impossible. Ma'am, her chief navigator said nervously, these routes should not exist. Velnara looked at the data on her screen. What do you mean? The hyperspace tunnels we use every day? According to our star charts, there is nothing here to create them. No natural phenomena.
Ow.
No ancient technology. But the tunnels are real. We use them constantly. Further investigation revealed the shocking truth. The tunnels were artificial. They had been built by someone with technology far beyond anything the Zephyrians possessed. And they were being maintained in real time, constantly adjusted to make shipping faster and safer. How long have these tunnels been here? Velnara asked. At least 30 years, her navigator replied. Maybe longer. We have been using human-built infrastructure without knowing it. The discovery led to more investigations. The Galactic Council's communication networks were enhanced by relay stations that existed in folded space. Invisible, but essential. The stations appeared on no official records, but without them. Messages between star systems would take weeks instead of hours. Even the Vorthok Empire made embarrassing discoveries. Their military academy had been using tactical simulation programs for 20 years. The programs were incredibly detailed and realistic, far better than anything their own programmers had created. When they traced the source, they found the programs had been designed by humans and quietly added to their systems. They have been helping us while preparing to fight us, Admiral Kexamarin told the Vorthok High Command. They made our ships faster, our communications clearer, and our training better. Then they used that knowledge to defeat us completely. Dr. Yiztal of the Etherian Science Collective was fascinated rather than frightened.
Oh.
Her people valued knowledge above all else, and the humans clearly possessed knowledge beyond anything the galaxy had imagined. We must learn from them, she told her fellow scientists. They have technologies that could advance our understanding of the universe by thousands of years. The Etherians were the first to approach humanity with an offer of cooperation. They sent a message to the Sol system requesting permission to study human science. The response came quickly. We welcome your curiosity, the humans replied, but we cannot share our most advanced technologies until we are certain they will be used responsibly. We propose an exchange. Send us your best students and we will. Send you ours. Let our peoples learn together. The first cultural exchange began 3 months after the demonstration. 12 young Etherean scientists traveled to a human mobile city to study alongside human researchers. What they found challenged everything they thought they knew about civilization. Dr. Yeastal read their reports with amazement. The humans do not separate their military from their civilians because they do not separate any aspect of their society. Their cities are simultaneously homes, schools, factories, and fortresses. Every citizen is educated in science, engineering, and warfare. Every child learns to build and to defend. The reports described human children who could design faster-than-light engines before they reached adulthood. Human artists who created beautiful sculptures that also served as powerful weapons. Human farmers who grew food in gardens that could become energy shields in minutes. They have created a society where war and peace exist in the same space, Dr. Yeastal explained to the Galactic Council. They are always ready for conflict, but they spend most of their time creating beautiful things. Not every species welcomed the new reality. The Korthok Militant Alliance viewed humanity as a threat to be eliminated. They began building alliances with other aggressive species, planning a coordinated attack that would overwhelm human defenses through sheer numbers. The humans learned of these plans within days. A message appeared simultaneously on every Korthok. Military computer. The tone was still friendly, but the words carried a clear warning. We are aware of your intentions, the message said. We understand your fear. Change is difficult, especially for those who have always relied on strength to solve problems. We offer you the same choice we offer everyone: cooperation or isolation. The message included detailed information about Korthok military capabilities, troop movements, and secret weapons projects. Information that should have been impossible for outsiders to obtain. We have been watching your preparations, the message continued. We know where your ships are hidden. We know which species you have contacted. We know your attack plans better than you do. The final part of the message was a demonstration. One by one, every Korthok military base experienced the same phenomenon. Their most advanced weapon systems activated themselves, performed perfect diagnostic tests, and then shut down. The message was clear. Human technology could control Korthok equipment whenever they chose. You may attack us if you wish, the message concluded. But first, consider this. We have been living peacefully alongside you for decades. We have improved your technology and protected your trade routes. We have had countless opportunities to conquer you, but we chose cooperation instead. The question is not whether we can defeat you. The question is whether you can defeat yourselves. The Korthok alliance collapsed within a week. Some species chose to pursue diplomatic relations with humanity. Others simply avoided human space entirely. A few, like the Ethereans, embraced the opportunity to learn from their new neighbors. The Galactic Council officially recognized the Terran Concordat as a major power, but this was not a traditional government. The humans had no capital world, no central authority, no fixed territory. They existed everywhere and nowhere. Their mobile cities drifting through space like a constellation of floating civilizations, Captain Sarah. Chen stood on the observation deck of Silent City 12 and watched the stars. Her city was currently hiding in the asteroid belt of a system 50 light-years from Earth. But hiding was no longer necessary. The galaxy knew humans existed. They knew humans were dangerous. Most importantly, they knew humans preferred peace, but were prepared for war. Status report, Sarah asked her communications officer. We have received 17 requests for technological assistance, 43 applications for cultural exchange, programs, and 5 formal alliance proposals, the officer replied. Also, the Zephyrian Trade Collective wants to hire us to design new cargo ships. Sarah smiled. And threats? Only 3, ma'am. All from species with populations under 10 million. Nothing worth worrying about. Through the transparent aluminum windows, Sarah could see other ships in the distance. Some were alien vessels going about their normal business. Others were human mobile cities, invisible to most sensors, but clearly visible to her enhanced vision. Humanity had spread throughout the galaxy like seeds on the wind. Any word from Earth? Sarah asked. Yes, ma'am. The surface colonies report that alien tourists are requesting permission to visit. They want to see the primitive human homeworld that fooled the galaxy for 3 centuries. Sarah laughed. Earth had become the ultimate tourist attraction. Visitors came to see the simple chemical rockets and basic space stations that had hidden humanity's true achievements. They marveled at the deception while human children played in parks built into asteroids and human engineers designed ships that could rewrite the laws of physics. The transformation was complete. Humanity had revealed itself to the galaxy not as conquerors, but as neighbors. They offered friendship to those who wanted it, assistance to those who needed it, and a simple promise to those who threatened them. Send a message to the Galactic Council, Sarah instructed. Tell them the humans of Silent City 12 send greetings and best wishes for continued peace and prosperity. She paused, looking out at the stars that no longer held any secrets from her people, and remind them that we are always watching, always ready, and always hopeful, that wisdom will prevail over force. The galaxy had learned to live with humanity. More importantly, humanity had learned to live with the galaxy. The silent blue marble that had once appeared so primitive was now the heart of a mobile civilization that spanned the stars. Peace was their preference. Annihilation was their capability. The choice, as always, belonged to those who would challenge them.